Hey friends, we're going to read another chapter from Leroy Ninker Saddles Up. Today, we'll look at chapter 6. But before we get started, let's remind ourselves what was happening in chapter 5. Now, when we left off, Leroy Ninker and Maybelline were getting ready for bed. But as you can see, they're outside Leroy's door, because Maybelline was too big to fit inside. And Leroy remembers what Patty Lamarck had told him, that Maybelline gets very lonesome. So they're going to be having kind of a camp out just outside the door. Let's see what happens. Chapter 6. Leroy Ninker dreamed that he was riding Maybelline on the open plain. In the distance, there were purple mountains, and high up in the sky, there was a daytime moon. See that right here. The moon was looking down at Leroy and Maybelline, and it was smiling at them. In Leroy's dream, Maybelline was running very fast, and he had a full set of teeth. Just like a movie, thought Leroy. We are just like a horse and a cowboy in a movie. The wind rushed across his face. It smelled like cinnamon and clover and spaghetti sauce. The wind is promising me wonderful things, thought Leroy. And then he thought, Patty Lamarck is right. I am very good at speaking poeticals. Maybelline's hooves pounded on the earth. Maybelline's hooves were extremely loud. Leroy had never heard such loud hooves, even in the movies. Maybelline's hooves were as loud as thunder. The cinnamon and clover and spaghetti sauce scented wind blew harder and faster. It tickled Leroy's nostrils, and then it slapped him on the cheeks. The wind, obviously, was trying to tell Leroy something important. And then, in his dream, Leroy heard Patty Lamarck's voice. "Wake up, Hank," she shouted. "Protect your horse." Leroy Ninker woke up. Thunder crashed. A bolt of lightning lit up the world. "Dab-blibber-it," said Leroy. "It's fixin' to rain." He stood. He hitched up his pants and pushed his hat down on his head. He looked at Maybelline. Her eyes were closed. She was still asleep. "Horse of my heart," whispered Leroy. "Sweetest and most delicate of all springtime blossoms, I cannot let you be rained on. I will go inside and get you an umbrella." Maybelline's eyes stayed closed. "I'll be right back," said Leroy. He turned and ran into Unit 12. While Leroy was gone, the rain began. A drop fell on Maybelline's nose. Another. Ooh, this is a good time to make a prediction. What do we think is going to happen to Maybelline in the rain? Another drop fell on her ear. The horse woke up. She lifted her head and looked around. Terrible things were happening. Thunder was crashing, lightning was flashing, And worst of all, oh, worst of all, Maybelline was utterly, absolutely alone. She was not the kind of horse who liked to be alone. Maybelline let out a long, questioning whining. The thunder crashed. The lightning flashed. Maybelline called out again. Where was the little man? Where was the little man with the big hat and the beautiful words? Where was the little man who brought her spaghetti? Maybelline called out again. There was no answer. She's looking up at that lightning, looking a little nervous, her poor little mouth missing teeth, just standing outside all alone. She didn't know what to do. And when Maybelline didn't know what to do, what Maybelline did was run. Leroy Ninker came out of Unit 12 holding an umbrella high over his head. Here I am, my springtime blossom, he said, and I have brought you an umbrella. But when he got to where Maybelline should be, there was no Maybelline there. Maybelline, said Leroy into the darkness and the wind and the rain. Maybelline? The wind blew harder. Horse of my heart, said Leroy Ninker. The rain came down hard and fast. The lightning flashed, revealing a horseless world. Leroy stared into the emptiness. He heard Patty Lamarck's voice in the wind. She was saying, do not leave Maybelline alone for too long, or you will live to rue and regret the day. A great gust of wind came along and grabbed hold of Leroy's umbrella and, wind and umbrella, not a good combo, and ripped it right out of his hands. Leroy watched as the umbrella spun up into the darkness. He was a cowboy without a horse, a cowboy without an umbrella. He was a cowboy, absolutely, utterly alone. Oh no. Chapter 7 will be read very shortly. Just a little sneak peek. I wonder what he could be yelling. All right, my friends, I hope you're enjoying the story. Tune in next time to hear Chapter 7.